Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Got a Salomon Depart 1.0 for you today. And this is a really interesting ski that we got wind of last year, got on it a couple of times, but really kind of has entered the mainstream for the 2026 ski season. Interesting inspiration, certainly an athlete-driven ski. Those Salomon athletes were looking for a wider twin tip with kind of an innovative design and construction techniques, even though there's a lot of simplicity in the build. The shape looks a little bit different, and there are some limiting factors here that kind of keep it in the more specific realm. Salomon's marketing, interestingly, kind of pushes this as more of an urban freestyle ski. It really kind of has the mix of that and just a Salomon QST 106. So if you're not interested in more urban freestyle and innovative tricks and stuff like that, this will serve just fine as a shorter turn freeride ski that has just an interesting shape and design. I think a lot of people kind of look at this and you wouldn't think it's a traditional twin tip, and that is certainly that's the effort here, is to make this as non-traditional and as innovative and as creative, inspiring as possible. Construction-wise, it is built with the lighter wood core, so a blend of poplar and caruba. There's not a ton else going on in this ski, just a pretty simple wood core. But if we look at it, I doubt it'll come up on camera, but you can see certain cutouts and inlays in the tips and the tails where those zones have been thinned. It kind of mirrors what we see in the QST 106's, the new corked amplifier. So it's basically like they put that core in there, but then didn't put the cork in there. So that's going to give the ski a little bit more energy and reactivity than the QSTs, which are a little bit more damp and more smooth. Not too heavy. These skis come in a 170 or a 180, so that's kind of keeping it on the more unique side of the spectrum. This is the 170, and we're on the scale at 1,650 grams. It's a pretty light little twin tip here, and isn't terribly stiff. This is a nice supportive and reactive flex, but it's not overly stiff, and this ski will not be overly demanding either. Shape-wise, it definitely has an interesting look here with the more pointy tip and then more of a traditional tail here. But it is 106 underfoot. This shorter one's a 104, but it does get a nice short radius. So 14 meters in this 170 and 15 meters in the 180. So they're really emphasizing, more of a swervy style when you're on snow. And then, the rocker profile isn't what you would normally, assign to a traditional twin tip or a competition slopestyle ski, but you definitely see a lot of pro riders using this in, bigger park event style formats as well as more urban locations. So there is kind of an interesting component here, and I think that style has a lot to do with it. Fortunately, this ski does have the substance to back it up, just in a more innovative way, shape, and form. But yeah, very interesting in terms of that taper. It's hard to really call this much of an early a traditional tapered ski. Very pointy, obviously, and then the widest parts brought down well into the ski, giving it a nice floaty feel. And then that tail just looks like it's going to release a little bit easier, a little bit narrower. Certainly not the symmetry you would expect from a traditional park ski, and that's fine, and then there's enough tail rocker here, even though I wouldn't go so far as to call this a traditional twin tip. So very interesting stuff from Salomon. Just trying to, make something new and different, and that's kind of what it's all about, pushing progress through. We did have some nice tester feedback here. Brett Williamson was one of our testers, says it felt versatile for a freestyle ski. The powdery conditions were perfect for the shape and width. Hearing how it is marketed as a freestyle ski changed once I skied it from the peak in the powder conditions, crushed it through the broken up powder. It initially reminded me of the Salomon BBR, which, very much a pin-tailed looking ski like this with a pointy tip back a few years ago. Great for woods, powder to broken up powder, the width, rocker, and generous side cut allow the ski to be maneuverable, which is beneficial in the East Coast woods. So don't just follow the marketing and use it on urban rails. You can use this thing as a full-on free-ride ski, powder ski, crud ski, anything you want. And as Brett was noting, great for trees here in Vermont because it is so mobile with that shorter turn radius. But yeah, if you're looking for something a little bit out of the box, make sure you check out this Salomon Depart 1.0 here at SkiEssentials.com, and we'll see you out there on the hill. Bye.